The reason why I think we need to have the conversation is right now, the stats you look at, there's about over 60% of CPAs are above retirement age.
Yes.
You got new technology changes. Yes. When you think about the number of people who are going into the field of accounting has gone down, so much has changed.
Yes. On top of COVID, even the work culture has changed. We no longer go into the office anymore. We do a lot of remote work. So a lot has changed. You're right.
So I really want to talk about really just to see, have you finally come to the light of really favoring finance over accounting, or are you still in this days of mesmerized?
Not the days. I would say a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. I would say back when we first had the conversation, I was highly accounting. Since then, with all the change, with the growth of the company, me starting a consulting firm, there has been a lot that I've recognized and realized that you need some finance. You need some finance. I'll give you that. I'll hit you with this. Accounting is like cooking a good steak.
Okay.
Finance is like the server saying, this steak is good. You should buy this steak today. You got to have both.
So we can't eat two?
Right. So finance goes to the banks and goes to the market and really puts together the story of this is what we're doing in here. Okay. You should invest. You should loan money. You should come and see what this company is all about from the balance sheet perspective. This company is really doing this. And accounting is, look at what we did. That looked good, don't it? That looked good. That steak looked good. It's sizzling on the plate. So you got to have both. You got to have the team that says you should order the steak to the finance, and you have to have the team that's delivering the steak to say, yeah, come back.
You know, since the last time, I was probably a bit harsh on accounting last time we had this conversation. I'll let you have that one.
Okay.
I'll let you keep that.
Give me the credit. Give me the credit.
Because I do think that a lot of people now are really evaluating which path do I go down. Because I think when we had the conversation 5 years ago, like both of us were in a completely different place.
Very much.
5 years ago.
Very much.
I was just starting my accounting firm 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you said,
what did you say? Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
I was starting an accounting firm 5 years ago.
Yep.
But I would say in that 5 years, I've seen so much shift as far as a higher demand from our clients of us doing more finance work.
Yes.
And so that's been an interesting shift, even for yourself. Like you said, you were all in on accounting, but some of that has shifted as well. So I think it'll be really good for people to see, hey, really, is finance the right path, or is accounting the right path?
The interesting thing about it is when it comes down to it, you have to have quality financials to be able to get money, to be able to get financing, to buy businesses, to know how you're delivering on your business, the results, right? And without those financial statements that are done by accountants, primarily CPAs that understand GAAP, then you don't really know. You're flying dark. You're operating based out of your bank account. Are we positive or negative? Am I having to put money in or having to take money? Do I have money to take out? You don't really know. But if you're all finance, then you're selling the story, but you don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
So you have to really have both. I had a client that considers accounting, the whole accounting department, as a call center.
Wow.
And no matter what I tell them, they don't see that without good financials, you can't go to the market and say, I want to do more.
Yeah.
So if you consider your accounting department, even your finance department as a cost center, yes, it's not your primary revenue stream, but if you look at what you can do bigger than selling a product or bigger than offering a service, that's not a cost center. That's more value add than selling that product or that widget.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of value a lot of validity to some of what you're saying. But I think but I do think the real tough question that people who go into I'm just call it accounting and finance field, a lot of them still are on the fence of which path do I really specialize in? Yeah. Do I just get a little bit of experience from one and then go all in on the other? And I think for you and I, like now, 5 years later, having a much higher perspective than we did 5 years ago of seeing it all the way up to the role of the CFO position is I'm wondering how much our opinions have changed due to that experience.
Mine really hasn't changed. Both of us started out at the University of Notre Dame getting accounting degrees, right? Master degrees. I like analogies. So it's like wanting to drive the Bentley, but you don't know what it's like to drive the Toyota or the Honda or the Ford. You got to have that first beater car where you're learning, you're grinding, you're making mistakes. So I see that as accounting. You're learning how the business operates. You're learning the language of business. What the debits or credits, what does it mean? What's your cash flow statement? How does this whole puzzle work? As you learn that, then you can transition to finance and say, I know what this means. And if you want more, you want multiples, you want value, this is how, this is why, this is where.
Okay.
So I still see the industry, the whole finance accounting starts at accounting and then you matriculate to finance.
Gotcha.
Boom. That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I'll let you have that for now.
Okay. All right. I'm racking them up now.
I'll let you win the points in this podcast conversation because we will be on stage speaking for the NC North Carolina CPA Society at their Business and Industry Conference.
We are.
And for everyone that wants to check that out, we'll put the details on the screen. We'll put some links there so you can register. You can see the upcoming event.
Yes.
Because I do think that we need to have this conversation in a more full form format.
Let's get an audience. Let's bring them out and see what people say, how they feel. But yeah, we will be at the Business and Industry Conference in Greensboro, Grandover. That's a nice spot. I may get a spot. I may play around the golf.
And I'm looking forward to it because you're going to have CPAs there.
Yes.
There are going to be bankers there. There are going to be people in corporate finance.
There's going to be bankers there.
There are going to be people that are in controllership, audit, internal audit. So there's going to be a wide range of accounting and finance professionals. So it'll be interesting to see how the audience responds to our feedback on the accounting versus finance.
Yes.
And I guess before we wrap this up, I know we don't want to go in too much detail because we're going to really talk about it in our session. Is any insight of how much do you think the advancement of technology has changed like your opinion and your perspective about just accounting and finance in general?
It has changed what you can do with the result. It's changed how fast, it has changed kind of research capabilities, perspectives, but you still have to put quality data in.
Yeah.
Good data in, good data out, bad data in, bad data out. I see accounting as putting in the good data. We're developing, we are compiling financial documents of what actually happened. You can drop those actuals into whatever IT technology you want, and then let that tell you where you're going to go tomorrow.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And I definitely see that with the advancement of, I think the world changed when, I guess, the ChatGPT came out.
Yeah.
And people saw, hey, here's where the technology is today.
Yes.
Because I think it was always this kind of idea about what if we could get to a world where we could really automate things or we could use technology in a very advanced way.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see the feedback in the room of how people in the room feel that technology has changed their field because the way that I think it's impacted bankers and treasury and corporate finance is different from the way that it's impacted accounting, audit, internal audit, and controllership.
Yes, agreed. And here's the thing. At the Business and Industry Conference, we're going to have bankers in the room. So if you want to talk to the bankers, if you want to know what the bankers are looking for, you should come to the Business and Industry Conference in Greensboro, North Carolina at the Grandover Resort, because we're going to talk to the bankers and say, what are you all looking for? It's all about what they want to see, what they consider valuable, and then you deliver on that, right? Finance asks the bankers, finance comes to accounting and say, this is what we need, here are your financials. Is that what the bankers are looking for? That's who's eating at the restaurant. I brought it all the way back.
So we're going to see at the conference whether our opinions are so divergent of accounting versus finance and if it's even possible for us to bridge that gap
Yeah.
for our audience,
Yeah.
and also talk about how technology is impacting both accounting and finance. And we'll throw in a bonus, I think, because a lot of companies are trying to figure out, what does hiring look like?
Yes.
So we're going to
Yes.
talk a little bit about the hiring roadmap for
Yes.
accounting, the
Yes.
hiring roadmap for finance.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be a really good conversation, but we'll see who the audience thinks is
We'll
the better
see.
path, accounting versus
I can tell you
finance.
right now, what the bankers want to know. What the bankers say, that's what we're going to do. But I agree with you. We are going to have a very in-depth conversation about all these things. What does the pipeline look like? How do we develop that career path? Its impact with technology? And is there a way for us to, is it separate? Is it finance versus accounting? Or at the end of the day, is it all finance?
I love it. So if you're very interested, make sure you click on the links to register and be in Greensboro, North Carolina in June, because we are going to be on stage having this conversation of accounting versus finance. And is it even possible for us to bridge the gap, and what the future looks like for this profession?
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Finance and Accounting Show. If you like what you heard, don't be selfish. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and then share this with a friend, because you know a business owner that could definitely use this insight. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and turn on the notification bell so you get all the updates when we release a new episode.